大家好，欢迎来到文美集团美国升学直通车。文美集团美国升学直通车是华人网和文美教育集团联合制作播出的北美首档大型的网络直播教育节目。在我们的节目当中，你将会了解到最新最权威的教育资讯，还有升学的建议。在我们的节目过程当中，无论你是学生还是家长，有任何的美国升学教育问题，都可以给我们留言，我也会请我们的嘉宾尽量来回答您的问题。文美集团是美国著名的大学申请及规划辅导机构。20年规划经验，在美国洛杉矶、纽约、芝加哥等12个城市设有服务中心，为广大华人子女提供教育服务。文美集团专注于美国大学升学规划服务，教育学博士加常春藤名校面试官顾问团队，中美双顾问模式，为6到12年级学生提供最好、最全方位的教育服务。欢迎大家扫码或者是直接搜索关注文美集团的微信公众号美国文美，及时了解最新最全的美国升学资讯。如果想跟文美的客服互动，请在节目播出期间扫描屏幕左下角的文美客服二维码，或者直接搜索微信号文美集团的全拼音添加。文美的咨询热线是1888-789-0942。好的，下面我们要请我们的文美集团的美籍顾问康奈尔大学的面试官 Mr. Pierre 来为大家分享有关文书的部分。我记得这个万博士在我们的很多期节目当中都讲到了文书的重要性，所以您觉得面试官讲到的是不是之前你也曾经跟我们分享过的？
对的，问题还是这些问题，在过去10年这些问题其实没有变过啊。那么我们文美集团的特点呢，咱们叫中美双视角，是吧？那么有中方顾问、美方顾问来服务我们的华人学生，这样能让我们的这个优势最大化。那么 Mr. Pierre 的话呢，他作为面试官，其实在面试的时候，问的各种问题其实也都围绕着这些大学申请文书里边的问题，只不过做一个面对面的交流，一个口语化的表达。所以在这个如何写文书、如何准备文书、你的文书如何让招生官开心的这个角度上来说，那他最有发言权了，是吧？所以呢，今天让他呢跟大家来分享一下，他作为面试官的这个角度，如何来写这些文章，希望对大家有所帮助。
好的，也谢谢万博士给我们准备这样的一个内容下面我们一起来看 Mr. Pierre 先生是怎么说的。
Hi, this is Pierre for WinMay. Today's topic is writing good college admissions essays. This includes supplemental essays and it includes personal essays, for example, on the Common App. The first thing you want to do before you start thinking about writing an essay is want to know deadlines, specifically application deadlines. Some schools, for example, will have early admission opportunities, like for example, early decision or early action. And in those cases, you need to make sure that your essays are complete by that time. So the first tip is going to be to know deadlines with regard to college applications, to know up to what point would you have to turn in the essay. So that gives you a window of time for you to work on the essay. The next thing you want to know is requirements. So in this case, we're going to switch over to looking at requirements for the Common App essay. So in this case, let's say I was applying to Cornell University, which is a Common App college. You see that for the personal essay, you have a minimum word count of 250 words and you have a maximum word count of 650 words. Now pay attention to whether it's a word count or character limit because they're very different. So yeah, this is pretty standard for the Common App personal statement. The next thing, after you know the requirements, which basically tells you what kind of space you have to work with, or if there's anything in particular that you need to include as part of your essay, the next thing would be to analyze the prompts, the topics. So again, we're going to refer to the Common App, the topics for this year. And so this is a list of the topics. So we'll go through them. Some students, the first one, some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful, they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. Next one, the lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you? And what did you learn from the experience? The third one is reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? The next one, reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected or motivated you? Fifth one is discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. The sixth one is describe a topic, idea, or concept that you find so engaging that it makes you lose track of all time. Why does it captivate you? What or who do you turn to when you want to learn more? And then number 7, share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. So in this case, if we're going to be writing the personal statement for Comment App, we would have to choose one of these topics. Note that the last one is pretty open-ended. You can pretty much use something you've written before. Now, there's something to be said about the selection of which prompt you're going to respond to. Keep in mind that millions of students are going to be responding to the same prompts. So in some sense, you want to cater to your strengths. In other words, choose a topic that you think that you would write your best essay in. If anything, you should choose 2 topics, do 2 essays, and then decide which one you think is a better essay between those 2, and also get some feedback from maybe your friends or family. And if you can, obviously your English professors as well. So that's the first thing that I'd say is important when choosing your topic. You have to make sure that it's a topic that you think you can write a strong essay for. And the other thing is that given that this is a personal statement, right, for the context of Common App, you want to make sure that it's personal. In other words, if there's something that is asking about your particular experience, you want to make sure that you focus it on your particular experience as well as how it affected you in particular. For example, if we look at number 4, reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected or motivated you? So it's talking about like something happened in your life. So what does that mean for you? So you have to tie it back. You have to make it personal, and you should do it in such a way that you can craft an essay that also shows off your personality or character traits. You want them to get to know you a little bit as well in your essays. This is not your typical 5-paragraph essay format. This is, you have certain space constraints, and you need to make sure that you write a unique and effective essay. Okay, so after you've done that, you've chosen your 2 topics, right? Your primary topic and your secondary topic. Then the next thing you have to do is brainstorm. So this is you on your own coming up with ideas, or maybe quotes, anything that you think that you would include in your essay, any references, of course, ideas and how they're connected, whether you think that you might tell your story in a certain sense, like in a certain style. This is the time to do that. So this is your brainstorming stage. After that, you want to research. So this will be whether you're researching on the topic or you're learning about other essays that have been successful as well. So, for instance, you can research for number 1, substance of background, any interest or talent. So if you want to talk about your background, let's say your ethnic background, let's say you're from a particular country, you can talk about how that sense of heritage, that sense of pride in where you're from, has allowed you to view the world in a certain way and given you like a certain sense of confidence. So in that case, you would have to research a little bit more, right? Your ethnic background, and see what kind of challenges your people faced, in the past, and see how that connects to you. And so that would be an example of doing research for one of these essay prompts. Again, this would extend to any essay prompt. And sometimes you could do research for any prompt. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was when you're going to look up examples of good essays. Okay? So this would be a resource that I would consider getting. So it's called 100 Successful College Application Essays. And it says included by some college counselors and admissions officers. So this would give you a good example of what a good successful essay is for an elite college. And so the idea is that these are, references that you can see and look at. And in some sense, maybe get a sense of inspiration from them and see what works. The next step would be planning out your essay. So this is going to be done in outline format. So you would include your pieces, perhaps your opening, let's say your opening line, like the hook that you're going to use to get the reader's attention. After that, you're going to include your 3 topic sentences, and then you can include supporting details into each one. There's many ways that you can outline your essay, but the main thing is to have the skeleton mapped out. That is the thesis, your topic sentences, and your supporting details. And then from there, you can fill in the details and kind of either improvise on the spot or really just plan everything out carefully and methodically. Depends on your writing style, but this is definitely the time to map everything out, and then you can make changes along the way if necessary. Once you're done outlining your essay, you've done most of the work already. Now it's time to write your first draft. So you'll go ahead and do that. And once you finish, the next step will be to have your essay peer reviewed. So that is allow, fellow students or your professors or your family members to read your essay and give you constructive criticism on it, so that way you can improve it. They're going to be a good audience, and in some sense it might be more fruitful to consider someone that is outside of your circle to read your essay, since they might have less bias and give you a little bit more objective, constructive criticism. So after getting all of that feedback, then you make the necessary changes, and then you can go ahead and come up with your final draft. And in working in your final draft, you definitely want to make sure that everything is polished. You have checked all the other steps that we mentioned, and you want to make sure that you take advantage of all the resources you have in terms of spell checking and grammar checking. You can use resources such as Grammarly to see if there's alternative ways to state things. You can get feedback from your English professors who will know very well in terms of how to navigate, the language used and the grammar and things like that. So for additional final touches on the essay. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and upload the essay and make sure that it abides by the length requirements and everything like that to make sure everything is fine. So this is for Common App personal essays. It's for supplemental essays for college if necessary. It could be for scholarship essays. You can generalize this process across basically any type of essay when it comes to college admissions. And even for your school essays, it might also prove helpful and useful. So I hope that sheds a little bit of light into how to write an effective essay. And recalling my own experience, I remember for the supplemental essays, which I think was part of the reason why I also got into Cornell University, apart from everything else, was that in the supplemental essay, I really did, I think, a really good job in terms of stating how my plans and my intention, once I made it to Cornell, what I would do given that my intended major was astrophysics. And so I talked about doing research at the observatory, which is on campus. I talked about working with certain professors. So I basically demonstrated a lot of preparedness and intention, and I feel like that conviction was very helpful in terms of, demonstrating my intellectual maturity at the time, and the fact that I had done my homework, so to speak. So, that can be helpful if you're going to be writing essays that talk about, what do you plan to do once you get accepted on campus? Like, what will be your plans in the next 4 years? What are your goals? And so I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
谢谢皮埃尔先生这个给我们带来的这些建议，那么希望对我们的家长和同学们有所帮助。当然每个朋友每个孩子都是不一样的，那么所以呢希望大家有任何的问题可以直接来联系文美集团。文美集团是美国著名的大学申请及规划辅导机构，20年规划经验，在美国洛杉矶、纽约、芝加哥等12个城市设有服务中心，为广大华人子女提供教育服务。文美集团专注于美国大学升学规划服务，教育学博士加常春藤名校面试官顾问团队，中美双顾问模式，为6到12年级学生提供最好、最全方位的教育服务。欢迎大家扫码或者是直接搜索关注文美集团的微信公众号美国文美，及时了解最新最全的美国升学资讯。如果想跟文美的客服互动，请在节目播出期间扫描屏幕左下角的文美客服二维码，或者直接搜索微信号文美集团的全拼音添加。文美的咨询热线是1888-789-0942。谢谢大家收看我们今天的文美集团升学直通车，那么有任何的问题呢，都可以继续给我们留言，我们下期再见。